Hi, my name is Dawn Yamin. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I want to go over loans. Specifically, I want to go over points on loans, whether they make sense for you and how much are they going to cost you. Points on a loan are typically called discounting your rate. Another term for it is buying down the rate. What it allows you to do is to buy down or reduce the rate of the loan. So you can reduce the interest rate over the life of the loan. The points that you pay are going to be paid up front at the time that you get the loan. They may be tax deductible, so please check with your accountant. I'm not an accountant, so I can't say that they are, but do check with your accountant because they may be. And what they will do is they're going to, if you remember from my last video, I talked about your annual percentage rate. They're going to be counted in your annual percentage rate, but they're not going to be counted in your monthly payment or your interest rate for the loan. So that's what points are. All right, something to consider with points is they are going to be part of your loan cost. You do need to factor that in when you're considering your closing costs for your loan. You need to determine if you're going to have enough money to even buy down the points. So that's something you need to look at. Let's take an example so that you can see how to calculate the points and to see if they're right for you. I'm going to go over a loan of $100,000 just because that is a good round figure and easy to calculate. It's going to be a 30-year fixed loan because, again, that makes it easy to calculate. 30 years is 360 months, so that is part of the calculation. I'm going to start with the interest rate at 5%. It typically will go down 0.25 between the interest rates when you purchase a point. So I've gone from 5% to 4.75% to 4.5 and so on. I have allowed for 4 points. Most lenders only allow 3 points, so that's something to keep in mind. But it is typically 0.25 between each point purchased in your interest rate. And then in the next table, you can see that I have calculated what those points are going to cost you. And as I said, that is a percentage of the amount of the loan. So if you're taking $100,000 as a loan, 1% is going to cost you $1,000, all the way up to your 4%, which is going to cost you $4,000 if you do go ahead and buy down the loan to that 4% rate, because that would be 4 points to get to the 4% rate. Okay? Now what we're going to do next is we're going to calculate your monthly payment given the interest rate that you have now purchased. If you just go with the market interest rate of 5%, you don't purchase any points, then you're going to have a certain payment. Again, these payments, you can find a lot of loan calculators on the internet. You can look at title companies. Sometimes banks have them on their mortgage pages. So it's pretty easy to find a loan calculator. If you're good with Excel, you can create a spreadsheet that you input the numbers and it gives you your loan payments. So that's also another way if you're good with Excel. But anyway, once you have that, once you have a way of calculating your loan payment, you need to give it the interest rate and you need to give it the terms of the loan. And basically, it's a 30-year fixed loan, so that's 360 months. And then just keep changing the interest rate so that you get your different monthly payments. Once we have that, then what we're going to do is we're going to calculate our savings based on the interest rate that you have purchased. On the next slide, I calculate what the difference in your payment is going to be. So we start out at the 5% saying you're not buying any points, and then we subtract out the payment given whichever point you choose. And I have chosen to calculate all 4 of them so that way you can compare. So once you have your savings calculated, what you want to do next is to find out how long is it going to take you to recoup the amount of money that you spent on the points. How many years, how many months? So what I did for each point and each amount that you spent to get down that point, let's just do the 1 point for an example. So at 1 point, you save $15.17 every month. So you take that $1,000 that you spent on that point, divide it by 1517, and then you have how many months, or I've done years, that it's going to take you to recoup that $1,000 that you spent up front. So you'll see that it takes you about 5.5 years. If you're going to be in the loan for 5.5 years, it's going to be worth it for that $1,000 up front. Now, if you're not going to be in the loan for 5.5 years, then it's not going to be worth it. You're not going to recoup that $1,000 that you spent. So you can see then that basically whether you buy down 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, or 4, if you're going to be in the home 6 years, you're going to recoup the money that you've spent up front to buy down your rate. So now the question is how long do you think that you're going to spend in the home, and is it worth it now to you to spend that? Let's say you're spending the $4,000 to buy it down to a 4% rate. Is it going to be worth it to you given the savings over the life of the loan? So let's look at that. This next slide shows you the savings that you would incur if you were to keep the loan for 5 years, for 6 years, and then for 30 years. So you can see that basically with each point that you pay, you're going to save about $5,000 over the life of the loan. So at that point, you need to decide, which payment is going to fit your budget. How much do you want to spend up front to buy down these points? And how much is it worth it to you to get those points down so that you're saving the maximum amount over the life of the loan? All right, now that we've done all the calculations, we figured out how much savings we're going to have and how long it's going to take us to recoup the points that we're going to purchase, we need to determine if we even want to buy points, if we even want to buy down our rate. So if you're not going to be in the house 5 years, maybe it doesn't make any sense for you to go ahead and buy down the rate. You're not going to recoup the money that you're going to spend up front. So maybe you're not going to buy down the rate. If you're going to be in the house, if you think you're going to be in the house longer than 5.5 and you're going to recoup the points, then you need to determine, okay, how much money do I have that I can spend on the points, and how long do I really think that I'm going to be in the house? And then you can do your calculations of how much you're going to save over the life of the loan, over however long you think you're going to be in the house, and determine which point makes sense for you. Is it the 1 point? Is that going to save you is that what you can afford, and is that going to save you enough money? Or do you want to do the 2 or the 3 points? Is that going to save you more money, and can you afford to do that at the time that you close a loan? So those are things that you're going to just have to look at and have to determine for yourself if that's going to be worth it. So those are all things you need to consider when you're looking at loans and you're looking at points. I hope I have explained this well, and if so, please leave me a comment. If I have left anything that you still have questions about, please leave me a comment and I will try to answer that. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please be sure to subscribe, be sure to like, and I'll see you next time.